He passed away Monday at their home in Oakland, California. However, they didn't give any details on his cause of death. The family also said that Cloud was struggling with a recent loss of his father. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Yes, it is Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM radio. And it's Tuesday. Joe Callahan still has the week off. It's only the second day of the 5 days we'll be missing Joe, and things are reaching a fever pitch here at the station. Where is Joe, anyway? That guy deserves a vacation, and this is a fine, fine week to have one, of course. And I'm Dave Richards filling in. With us today, ladies first, we have Linda Tebow.
Good morning.
Good morning there, Linda. How are you?
I am very good, thank you.
And to her right, we have Ed Carew.
Morning, Dave.
From
morning,
the
Linda.
Carew Investment Group.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Ed, do you have a message ready for us?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. Good morning, everyone. Ed Carew here of the Carew Investment Group. Integrity, trust, service. 3 words that sum up what you can expect from the Carew Investment Group at 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket. Established in 1987, we've been helping local investors to build wealth and guide them through their golden years of retirement using quality stocks of companies that you know, many of which pay quarterly dividends. We also use investment-grade bonds and low-cost exchange-traded funds. To find out more about our services and for a quality conservative approach to your investing, give us a call at 765-8880. Integrity, Trust, and Service, the Carew Investment Group. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
Thank you very much, Ed. Before we go around the table asking for topics, I feel compelled to bring up an erratum here. We made a mistake on the morning fun show this morning. We're doing the birthdays, talking about Francis Scott Key, whose birthday was August 1st. And he wrote the famous national anthem for the United States, at least the words, to the Star-Spangled Banner while he was witnessing the bombardment of not Fort Sumter, but Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. And we are corrected by the always studious and learned Robert Hope Larder, Esquire. Who I'm sure when I see him later this week will be wagging his finger at me for getting the wrong information on the air. I apologize profusely. Mea culpa. All right. Well, there's all kinds of different news stories and everything we could comment on. But you know, while we were getting ready to go on the air this morning, Linda Tebow brought up a subject that perhaps bears a little bit of conversation here. Linda, you want to repeat that question?
Well, we were talking about, I was talking about the issue with Sabina Montos and the falsified signatures that were handed in on her behalf. And I thought, I was always under the impression that the candidate that was getting those signatures was responsible for those.
Well, this is something you've done in your lifetime a number of times,
yes, exactly,
right?
and certainly
First for council and then for administrator?
for the administrator, surely. And I mean, and I know on just on a local town level, and I know it's only one town, but I was told that we were responsible for those signatures, so they'd best be you're personally responsible for them. And you know, I was just wondering. I know the Attorney General was looking into it, and I think the buck stops with the person in charge.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that nothing is happening.
Do you think that the voters think that way? Or do you think that the voters say, oh, well, they fired the person, they found out the problem, they had enough signatures to qualify, even when all those questionable signatures were removed from the body of signatures. So do you suppose that the public is that unforgiving?
Well, I have to say, I think there is so much conspiracy theories going around in the world today with the public, with the voters,
Yeah.
that I would think perhaps they are concerned about it. Especially, as we go above local and into the state and into the federal, we start seeing things that we don't like to see in that whole political scene.
Gee, you think?
Do you think? And my first thought was, sure, she had other signatures. Yeah, she did have enough.
Right.
But the mere fact that they had those falsified ones is not a good thing. It's not a good reflection upon her
Right.
as a candidate, I'm thinking. And I think the buck stops here, Heavy is the head that wears the crown that is wanting to become the representative.
Thank you for the quote.
Yeah.
But well, but do you suppose that if you're strict about this, your unintended consequences will be overwhelming? For instance, all anyone has to do, and here we had 15 different people out there grabbing signatures, and all anybody has to do is go around and get someone to improperly represent themselves and sign the papers of an opponent to remove that opponent, and then any strong opponent, it becomes a target because they'll be set up for signatures if you're
But-
going to take it that seriously.
Sure. Well, I think you need to take it very seriously because that's how they have, dead people voting and dead people's signatures on papers like that.
Yeah.
It's voting. Elections are very
Yeah.
important and should be taken very seriously.
I know, but if you take it so seriously and penalize for it so strictly, it'll just become the target du jour for any opponent. They don't have
Perhaps.
to win on their merits. They just have to be the one who sets up their opponent best.
Perhaps. But,
I'm just wondering if more harm would come.
I don't
Because
know.
I'm big, Linda. I'm big on human judgment.
Yeah.
If you go by the letter of the law all the time, most of us would be in jail. I mean, we've all
I don't know about that. No, the
we've
thing
all
is,
run afoul of the letter of the law at
Right.
one time or another.
well,
If you're yelling at the kids and now you're going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit and
Yeah.
you catch yourself and bring it back down, you still
Yeah.
was speeding.
But
So
a
if you're
speed-
intolerant,
but a speeding ticket is not like an election, and
Okay.
especially in light of all that we're hearing about, the former president and all his transgressions and all of this, and there is so much bad going on in the world of politics that I think we do need to be more careful. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
well, that's what it's.
And
here
I
for.
used to get all my own signatures, and I know it
You knew
pales in
everybody.
comparison.
You knew or had met everyone who signed your papers.
I did.
You could do that in a town.
Yes,
I don't know if
know,
you could
and
do it
I
with a dozen
underst-
towns in a district.
No, and I understand that, but I think the people, you go out and you hire a campaign team, and I think you need to be more careful.
Yeah.
Who you select,
Right.
and keep on top of that and making sure. First of all, she probably should have had those signatures checked before she handed them in.
Got a point.
Do you
Would
know?
a candidate have the wherewithal to check the signatures the
No,
way that a
but
board of canvassers would?
Right. No, well, they could probably take a look. But I know, and I know it's on the local level what I did, but I always made sure I had more signatures.
You're talking about a principle.
I'm
a
talking
principle
about
that the candidate is ultimately responsible for the
exactly,
wrongs of the
exactly.
campaign.
And I'm talking about it's an election. It's a federal election.
Right.
There's a slew of people in there, and I'm surprised some of the candidates haven't, picked up on all of this
Right.
and started talking about it. But anyways, yeah. All politics is local,
Right.
and then it goes state, and then it goes federal. And I think with each layer, there is more opportunity for things to go wrong.
Well, you got a point there. Ed, we have been kind of like not
I'm
talking
sorry,
to
Ed.
you. But
That's fine.
Well, I know that this is a Rhode Island thing, but the issue she's talking about is not state bounded. Would you be in favor of in your district, for instance, if there were some impropriety, if there would be very strict penalties involved? Do you agree with her that the candidate is ultimately responsible, whether they know what's going on or not?
Well, let me back this up just a bit. First of all, I have no clue who this person is. I have no
She's
clue
the current
what
lieutenant
the person
governor
is
of Rhode
running
Island.
for.
Yeah, and she's running for Dave Cicilline's seat,
Okay.
our congressman in this
Well,
district.
all right. Well, that's a little bit helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get really involved with politics.
Okay.
I think that it would be very difficult for someone who's running for office on a statewide or semi-statewide, a congressional seat, serving many communities, to personally know if all of those signatures are appropriate. You have to have some trust in the people you hired or were put out to gather them. As long as they have more than needed, or unless you came up with something that said, well, half of the signatures were fake, that might be a little bit more of a glaring issue to me than if 3% or 5%
So,
were.
so even after the ones that are in question are subtracted, as long as they had the requisite number, you think that they should still be certified?
Without giving this any more thought, because I
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
And Linda, you were saying that perhaps they shouldn't be certified because there was improprieties.
Well, I think when there are improprieties, you need to take that into consideration. And if I were a voter, and I am,
Okay, right? Yeah.
I think it's not a good reflection on the person.
Well, I would agree there. I don't
it's
think
not a
there's
good
any
reflection
disagreement with
on the
that. It's not
person.
a good reflection. If you
It's a-
can't hire good help, do
it-
you want to be an executive?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very disparaging on the person that has those false signatures, and I think people might have to think more than once. Is this who you want to represent you? Mm-hmm. If you can't make good choices of the people that you hire.
Well,
Are you-
it could be a contributing factor to making your decision.
Sure.
That's what. Yeah,
That's all- that's
what I
fair.
mean. Well, and that's what I mean. I think we need to we need to pay a close attention. I mean, there's been so much. For how long we've been hearing about the election that went by, and the former president didn't get elected, and mail ballots, that sometimes people are concerned with those, or early voting, or this or that. All of these things, these are the kinds of things that make people suspicious of mail ballots and early voting and things like that, I think. And I said, it's just my opinion.
Well, certainly.
Just my opinion.
And so you believe in your mind that it would affect the way you value the work of that prospective congressman?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have a question on
absolutely.
this. Did this person who's running hire these individual people, or did she hire a company who has these individual people?
She hired a vendor.
Yeah,
She called it, I think their statement called them a vendor.
right.
Okay,
that
so it's
supplied
not
these
like
people.
she picked a dozen people and say, okay, you guys go out and get
and
votes
you know,
for me.
and you know
or
something, Ed,
signatures.
and I think she probably doesn't even know the vendor or who, but I think we need to be.
Well, I think I can speak with confidence from my experience in statewide elections that the candidate has hardly any say on who the vendor is going to be. The party tells the candidate
exactly.
what the vendor is going to be.
and it's the
We found
campaign
that out
team.
about advertising.
Yeah.
The advertising agency is given to the candidate.
Yeah.
And the candidate doesn't have any ideas whatsoever.
yeah.
And has no input whatsoever. The candidate has no, but in Rhode Island, the Democratic Party decides who the vendors are.
And who they're going to endorse and all. No, and that's but I guess that's that's probably an underlining point that I'm trying to. I think sometimes it gets out of control of the person. I think the candidate should have some control over their own campaign.
Right.
And who.
But
who
often they don't.
And I know that, and that's very sad.
Yeah.
And if, well,
Oh, well.
eh,
Good
I-
discussion.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Ed for a second message, can we?
Okay, thanks again, Dave. Good morning again, everyone. Ed Carew here of the Carew Investment Group, 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket. Our telephone number is 765-8880. And if you're looking for an investment firm that puts you first and works hard on your behalf, I'd like you to consider us. We're right here in Woonsocket, and we've been in business since 1987. So you don't have to go out of town for an experienced advisor or work with an advisor based in Boston or New York or who knows where, probably someone you're never going to meet. And we encourage our clients to come to the office and sit down with us as often as they like. Why? Because we like to do business the old-fashioned way. We want to get to know you on a more personal basis so that we're more attuned to your financial needs. So if you're interested in speaking with us for a free no obligation consultation to find out more about how we invest your money, you can call me or Paul at 765-8880. Securities are offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
Thank you very much, Ed. We'll be right back with more coffee and discussion after these words.
Hi, I'm Kathy LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
We're local and live at 99.5.
We're back here on Coffee and on ON AM and FM radio, and Linda was just expanding on her. I don't think we're going to go that way on the air.
Yeah.
But she was just expanding on some of her opinions on that. You obviously have a pretty strong opinion on all of this. Did you have no, I don't want to go there.
No.
I don't want to get too personal on a matter because we were doing a nice job of talking about an issue without getting into endorsements or preferences and things like that. Here's an issue for you. When I was just talking also off the air, I was saying I worry about people who try to make the world too perfect. It always backfires on them. Well, case in point, I think, my opinion, see if you two agree. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu has issued an executive order that will, of course, continue on way past her time in office. Seems kind of dumb to me, but anyway. The executive order bans the use of fossil fuels in any new or remodeled buildings owned by the city of Boston. There are 380 of these buildings, and they're going to be retrofitted, and if they're replaced with buildings that have no fossil fuels, and that means that fuels cannot be used for heating, cooling, cooking, or hot water. Can't use fossil fuels. Mayor Wu says that this will be a major undertaking, you think, but with buildings responsible for 70% of Boston's emissions, the action is needed. Any comments on this?
How can she give an executive order that continues after her tenure?
It's how you get elected, to continue your tenure.
No, I get that, but will she
Although
get
you're
elected?
wise enough to know that anytime you make a decision, you divide the House.
Yeah, you can't.
So eventually you don't get elected.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Unless
yeah.
you're crooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah. But the natural order of things, I believe the founding fathers, I wasn't there, would have considered this bit of wisdom, that the natural order of things is you elect a leader. Each time that leader makes a decision, there is a division of the House. In other words, somebody likes it, somebody doesn't like it. And all your doesn't like it's mount up, and your likes it mount up over time till eventually your doesn't like it's overpower your like it's, and you lose the election and you're replaced with someone else who'll start the cycle all over again. All right, now if that little bit of common wisdom is accepted, you would normally think that people will be serving temporarily in that job for a period of time. And if they are lucky enough to be given softball decisions that more people agree with, they stay in office longer. But when you're on top, sometimes life doesn't give you when you get to the top, the decisions get tougher. And when it ends up on your desk that you've got to do something that nobody likes because worse things will happen, you're going to end up with more doesn't like it's. And eventually you're out. Unless, of course, you're crooked and you manage to work elections. Right, Linda?
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's the idea. What do you think about the, it looks like a gallop toward, a fossil fuel replacement. Is there any sense to this at all?
Nope.
Or Ed spoke up first. Let's put you
There
on.
is no sense to that at all.
No.
Don't think so?
No.
Why don't you?
Because we don't have another fuel source that is reliable to do the things that they think that they can accomplish without.
Oh, haven't you watched This Old House? You can have a neutral house there.
No, I
with-
don't watch this old house.
No,
I
I'm
don't
just
watch the
saying.
new house. I don't watch any house. I don't watch any of that stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
They'll show you how to build it.
First of all-
it costs 2.5 times more to build, and twice as much to maintain.
Oh yeah, sure.
Of course
Yeah.
it's
Now,
Yeah.
if you don't care about money, you can get anything you want.
First of
As
all,
long
I
as the
think
federal government is giving you a grant.
all elected officials all elected positions should have term limits. First of all,
Yeah, I'm not happy with that idea.
that's okay. It's my idea.
Yeah, I get it.
You
No,
know,
it's not your idea. It's the idea of many.
Yes.
Yes.
And secondly,
We have them here in Rhode Island.
going along with that, if there are term limits, then I think it should not be allowed to have an executive order that will continue in perpetuity,
Yeah, right.
right? Unless the next guy comes up and says, I'm doing an executive order to get rid of what the last person did. And then what does that leave you? That leaves you with several buildings who were reconditioned and a lot of money was spent on them,
Right.
or new buildings that were built and a lot more expenses were added to the cost of that particular building. And now all of a sudden it would be at a disadvantage to all of the other buildings who can now use fossil fuels again, or some other type of fuel.
Right. Did I hear you right that you think that the executive orders should survive the
No.
person who puts them in?
They
Did I hear
do.
you wrong?
They do survive.
They do. Executive orders do survive.
They continue
Is
until
that
they're
a fact?
changed.
I didn't know that.
Well, that was my question about that.
And you were thinking that they do, or they
I
shouldn't,
was
or
thinking
what?
that they didn't. I was thinking that they didn't.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
you could be
interesting.
right, and I was under the impression that they do. But if you're correct, that makes this even more stupid.
Yeah.
You know, so what are
Yeah.
you going to do? Let's not recondition the building. Let's not build in Boston until this mayor is gone.
Well, I mean, for instance, like with the when we were stopping the immigrants, that was an executive order,
Right.
and it went away.
Well, it went away because
away.
the different parties' candidate got into office that didn't agree with the original policy, so they probably issued a further executive
Well,
order
no,
nullifying
what
the
I-
it
first.
what I mean.
expired. It expired.
Yeah.
It expired.
Well, that's right. There was a
It
time
was
limit on it.
expired. That was because of COVID, and they were
Oh,
able to do that. Remember, that was an
Okay, an
executive order.
executive order with, but they don't. I don't think they all expire.
No,
I don't think
and
it's
I don't know
automatic.
for sure. I don't think any executive order should go beyond the person's tenure. That's why. But I don't know that for sure. I don't know that.
Well,
we'll have to
that
look
sounds
that up.
interesting.
We'll have to
That's
look
that's
that up.
interesting. Or maybe some learned member of the audience
Can give us a
could
call.
call that in at
Mr. Lauder.
766-1240.
Yeah,
The Fabulous
yeah.
Denise would be happy to receive your call and write down a little note for us to bring this up again. Yeah, I don't know what's right and what isn't right about that. I don't think morally it's right for executive orders to survive the perpetrator, should I say? No, the executive.
politician.
I knew I was going to get in trouble by saying that P word. The executive that makes them. I think that it's immoral for them to hang the next administration with it. I don't think it's right at all, but I don't know what really the law is. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
well, that's an interesting one, isn't it, huh? Okay, well, we brought that up, and I don't think that we can actually follow that one all the way through to its conclusion because, well, you never know. Of course, now that the state legislature in Massachusetts has finally, after 31 days, well, more than 31 days actually, put in a state budget for the year instead of the stopgap budgets. What the budget doesn't include is making the news. And one of them is the governor, Maura Healey, had put in $12 million into the budget, which is really kind of small when you're looking at a $56 billion budget. But $12 million she had set aside for a new rail station in Palmer, Massachusetts, which is a little further than Worcester,
Yeah.
as you know. And it's almost halfway to Springfield, isn't it? Between Worcester and Springfield?
know.
Well, maybe a third of the
Beyond-
way.
It's beyond Worcester.
And I knew where Palmer was because that's where Phyllis Thomas came from originally. She grew up there. So I became familiar with the town. And for track improvements in the Pittsville area anyway, none of the money that's been approved in the next budget here is going towards expanding commuter rail service west of Worcester. So they've got Worcester eastward, but out in the lesser populated portions of Massachusetts, no commuter service. Do they have commuter service from where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
there's
is pretty. It's a pretty nice thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah. Jane used to take the commuter rail into Boston every day when she was working. Well,
Yeah.
most days, unless she had a wacky shift or something, you know.
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know. Do you think, as a Massachusetts resident, you'd be in favor of expanding at great expense commuter rail service west of Worcester?
I don't know that. Probably a study would have to be made as to how many people would use or need rail service coming out of Springfield or further west. I mean, I don't think anybody in the Berkshires goes into Boston that often. You know.
And they have Route 90 if they want to pay the tolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Mass Pike, for those who aren't thinking about what Route 90 is. Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of interesting. But anyway, in Massachusetts, the governor has line item veto, so they can do well. Okay, I like the budget, but this I don't care for, and I'm going to veto it and see if it survives. See just how serious they are about voting for it. And it really tests the resolve of the legislature when you veto something, don't you think? What do you think about line item veto? Massachusetts has it, Rhode Island doesn't.
Yeah.
Is it better or worse? What do you think, Ed? You've got
I
it.
don't know. I really had no thoughts on that.
I don't have any thoughts on
Yeah, I
it either.
hadn't thought about it
You know,
really. Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, vetoes in the municipal level, a veto is a whole different thing.
Right.
At the state level, a veto has a lot more teeth,
Well, yeah.
don't you think?
Well, it impacts a whole lot more people.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't suppose that the Democratic Party, otherwise known as the Rhode Island Legislature, would want to give up or give any more power to an executive branch that could be Republican.
This is true.
Do you think?
This is true.
I know I sound cynical when but I've lived here for a few years.
True. It's true.
It seems to be true anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're coming down toward the bottom of the hour, friends, so let's do our half-hour break here. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. Just $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word RADIO to 97646. And let's see what we have for a weather forecast for you today. Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day with a high of 76 degrees and just a breath of a breeze from the north to keep it nice and cool. Tonight, mostly clear, overnight low of 51 and a calm wind. Wednesday, tomorrow, looks like sunshine and 78. Thursday, mostly sunny and 79. Clouds come in on Thursday night, and there's a chance of a shower overnight on Thursday night. Friday, boy, it's looking like a stinker now. 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon and evening, and a high of 77 degrees. Stay tuned for further developments on that. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 80. Sunday, partly sunny, 79. Next Monday, partly sunny and 80. And presently outside our Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio here at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. Here in Woonsocket, there it is. Dry and clear roads, good visibility, light traffic at the moment. And our temperature is 72 degrees at 8:30 on Tuesday morning.
A great summertime activity is back at the Beef Barn. It's cruise night, and it takes place tonight starting at 4 p.m. Take a stroll through the more than 150 classic cars, where you'll marvel at the beauty and craftsmanship of these automotive gems. Whether you're an avid collector or simply appreciate the nostalgia, Cruise Night at the Beef Barn is an event not to be missed. If you get hungry, the Beef Barn has their full menu, including their famous roast beef sandwiches, plus chowder and clam cakes. Cruise Night at the Beef Barn, 200 Industrial Drive, North Smithfield, tonight and every Tuesday night during the summer, starting at 4 p.m.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Hi, this is Romeo Berthium inviting you to join me every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 for The Saturday Show. This all-request program includes music, news, sports, weather, and all sorts of community announcements. And what a great way to start your weekend. Join me this Saturday morning.
ON Radio, ON Worldwide.
All right, we're back here on Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM radio with Ed Carew and Linda Tebow and Dave Richards here. Joe's out this week. And Ed did some research during the break. And Ed, what'd you come up with there? Had to do on the topic of executive orders.
Well, I was looking for how long is an executive order effective, and I didn't find exactly what we were looking for. What I did find pertained to the president, saying, because it said that the president of the United States can issue executive orders, and that executive order has the same effect as being a law. But then it continues to go on and say that the Congress can pass another law to remove that executive order.
Right.
So that may or may not answer, can the mayor write an executive order? Does it continue on forever? But to me, this implied that an executive order does continue
legs.
on
Yeah.
after the elected person is gone.
Interesting.
In my humble opinion.
Interesting, Ed. Well, thanks for looking into that. All right, Ed, you might be interested in hearing that the electric car maker Tesla is expanding. They're putting in another dealership here in Rhode Island, this one in Providence. Their first was in Warwick. And the hub will open next year at the former Stop and Shop supermarket off Reservoir Avenue. I don't know enough about Providence to remember that Stop and Shop supermarket or why it might be closed. But anyway, 76,000 square foot center, including a repair shop, showroom, and it's expected to create 30 full-time jobs and all that. I thought that Teslas were on their way out, that they'd had their day in the sun, and that the competition from all the other automakers was rendering them somewhat moot. I got a wrong idea on that?
Yeah, you were way off base on that one.
Seriously?
Yeah. Tesla is the biggest electric car maker in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They have their market share is at least 5 times more than whoever's in second place.
Oh my.
They're not going anywhere yet. It might be a while for someone to even try to catch up. And it's a
That's
good
hard
thing
to believe. I mean, I don't think they don't sell a model less than $60,000, do they?
I think the Model 3 is less than. I think it starts around 45,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I see.
You may want to put more toys in it and get it up to 55, 60,000. But I
Yeah,
think the
right.
Model 3 is considerably less. Elon Musk says he's going to come out with another one for less money than that. His goal is to come out with something for $30,000 or less.
Well, then he'll get mainstream action on that.
Yeah.
The way car prices, I know there's some people listening to us right now, Ed, that's saying, $30,000 for a car, never. But if you take a look and see what everything else is selling for these days.
Yeah, it looks like Hyundai is pretty much in the number 2 position with electric cars, and they just came out with them about a year ago.
Yeah.
You got GM was going to get
They've
rid
been
of
flopping around. They got rid of
Yeah.
the Volt. They got the Volt back.
Well, the Volt is gone. The Bolt is the one that they got rid of, and now they're saying they're bringing it back.
A Bolt.
Yeah, Bolt. Yeah,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
smaller one. The
Yeah.
Volt is a bigger,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
somewhat bigger. They're it seems the United States is, our manufacturers seem to be pushing trucks, electric trucks,
Yeah, I saw that.
and people really aren't.
That's very tough
Yeah,
because
people aren't
trucks
really
are
buying
work
those.
vehicles many times.
Yeah, and you're looking at $80,000 to $100,000 in many cases for an electric truck. So yeah, I don't know, but there are a lot more electric vehicles coming out. Rivian has it's a truck. It's like a little pickup.
What's the name of that company?
Rivian.
I don't know that company.
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Really?
They're just coming out with them now. They're selling quite a few. You got Lucid. Lucid Motors has a beautiful automobile, but they're struggling to sell 30,000 or manufacture 30,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah, they're having a really difficult time. There's a lot of them out there. Stellantis is coming out
Well,
with
it's
stuff.
crazy. You know, Volkswagen, I think I've shared this with you before. Volkswagen has the iBuzz, which is theoretically, it's the 21st century incarnation of the Volkswagen bus. And they have been promising that for 4 years, and it's still not available.
No.
It wasn't going to be available till 22. Now it's 23. Now it's 24.
Well, Volkswagen has the ID4, which is like an SUV, a small SUV, or whatever they call crossover. Volkswagen also owns Audi, and they have 3 electric vehicles. They have the Q4. I don't remember the other 2. Porsche has a electric vehicle. Mercedes has an electric vehicle. So there's a lot of them out there. They're just not catching on the way the government.
Are they
would like
catching on
them
more
to.
in Europe? Because I'm told by Volkswagen, because I inquired on it, because I loved my old Volkswagen buses, but I can't go out and spend $45,000 for something that's 50 years old or 60 years old anymore. That just seems silly to me. That's a classic car thing, and you don't register it as a daily driver, that's for sure. Anything can happen, and all your money is gone. To say nothing of what it would cost to insure it. So that's not practical. But I thought maybe an all-electric version of the bus, 21st century, mostly plastic. You can get it in a 4-wheel drive. You can get it in a 2-wheel drive. All of those things, but they're still selling them in Europe, but they don't seem to be. They just seem to keep delaying bringing it over to the United States.
I don't know
Yeah.
why they're doing that. Probably.
Are there more electric cars
demand.
in Europe? What have you heard?
I heard that there's more electric cars in China than there are in Europe.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
My goodness.
And there's a lot of electric cars in the United States. I mean, I see them on the highway all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I see 2 different versions of Teslas. There's the Model S and the Model 3. They had a new one called a Model Y. I haven't seen one yet, but that's the one with the gull wing.
Why? Because we like you.
Yeah. And you know, they've got different ones. They're really big in Florida and California.
Okay. Why?
Because the weather is nicer.
Oh, I
And
see.
the mileage that you're going to get in an electric car here in the Northeast during the winter is like, forget about it.
Yeah.
You know? The
Plus, you got to run a heater.
Well,
Can you imagine what it takes out of the batteries to run the heater and drive? Wow.
it's a funny kind of car. My son has a Tesla, and he didn't buy it new, but he's
Sure.
had it for a couple of years now, and it'll start by itself, like not the engine. Well, maybe the engine. I'm not sure, but you can walk by it and you can hear it running. And why is it running? Because it's hot outside, and so it starts to cool itself down. Yeah, I don't know if it starts in the winter to keep itself warm, but I know he's told me that he'll go to, he's got a charger at his house. He's
yeah.
got solar panels on his house, and so
Right.
he's got a charger. And he'll charge his car at night, or he'll charge his car all night, and when he gets home at night, he might have, say, 250 miles left. And in the morning, car didn't go anywhere. And in the winter, it might be 220 miles left. Didn't go anywhere, but it lost 30 miles.
This is going to be tough for people to get used to.
It is. And he says, he loves the car. And because he's got the charger at home, it's not a big problem. But when he goes somewhere, he noticed that if you can find a Tesla supercharger, that's good. You can get like an 80% charge in less than a half hour. But
And what does it cost to get the charge?
Well, if you bought a Tesla, it's free.
Oh, I see.
That's part of it. At least it's free for the one that he has.
Okay.
They may have changed it over
Okay.
time. If you
Well,
buy a
that's
new
good.
one, it might not be. It might be 2 years free. I know I looked at a BMW electric car
Yeah.
before I bought my Genesis, and they gave you 2 years of free charging. But you had to go to a place that provided
They
it.
were in control of, yeah.
Right, exactly. So he says the problem is that if you can't find a supercharger, you got to use a regular charger, and they're slow.
Right.
And sometimes you'll go and there might be half a dozen of these chargers over there. You pull up to them, and they're all occupied.
Right.
And sometimes there's 2 cars at chargers, and there's nobody in them. The guy left. He's gone. He might not come back till who knows how long.
That's right. You don't know when they're coming
You
back.
don't know when they're coming back. And he says, and there might be 6 of them, but 1 or 2 of them might be broken. They're not working.
Oh, boy.
So there's a lot of things that for a regular
complicated.
person who's buying an electric vehicle and doesn't have charging capacity at home, fast charging capacity at home, you don't want to plug it into your regular house current because you're going to gain about 10 miles overnight. It's terrible.
Oh, boy.
So, there's problems with that.
I can see that. Well, if they make it just too difficult, and then they don't expand the public transit out into the rural areas, is there any danger, do you think, of us going back to times for the 1800s and the early 1900s where people just really didn't commute?
I don't know about the early 1900s or the 1800s, but some people commute much less than they used to because they can work from home.
They're working at home now.
Do you think that's what government's thinking? We'll make everybody stay home and work from home, and then they don't need the cars, so we can beat them up on that little matter.
I have no clue what this government is thinking. Because not much of it makes any sense at all.
Not much of it resembles thinking in your mind.
Right,
huh?
exactly. They're not thinking.
Not a lot of common sense.
Did you just recently bought a car? Did you think of electric?
No,
Just rejected it out of hand?
right.
Too complicated? Not
Well,
interested.
no. I think when things get more complicated, they break down easier too.
Oh, you got a point there.
My washing machine just was all computerized, and it had a little meltdown thing, and it's just a year old. Anyways, no, I did not want an electric car.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I've
you know,
wanted one forever, but I haven't seen the deal that I'm looking for yet.
I think
except I wanted to get that Volkswagen bus, that all-electric Volkswagen bus, because I said, well, that'd be great, and it'd be a real hoot. But I said at the same time, I said, if I'm going to be 100 years old when they finally start selling them here, it's not
Yeah.
going to do us any good.
Well, the other thing is, though, all the things that Ed was just saying, there is still too many things. There's still a lot of unknowns with the electric cars. We know, yes, you need to plug them in. Tesla is supposed to have those charging things in Providence, too.
Right.
They had said that. But, you know, I mean, they've got the battery, and it can burn, you know, and,
Yeah.
and it's heavier. It's going to...
Much heavier,
In
you
an,
burn.
in an accident, you're going to really total another car. That
If you don't
can't-
have an accident, your
Yeah.
tires wear out faster.
Then the tires wear out faster.
And that
That's
means
why
the roads will
Wait.
be wearing out
That's
faster.
right. And
Right,
it-
and they're not paying into they don't pay a gas tax.
they don't
Yet.
pay gas
Yet.
tax. And they showed they're making new tires. Did you see that? They're like a mesh thing that, what did they say? Airless. Yeah, airless
Yeah.
tires. Because they're so heavy. But there are so many things that we don't know yet about electric cars. And no, I had no desire for an electric car. And,
I get
and
it.
you know, I do like the environment, don't get me wrong. I've always been concerned, you know, about the environment, but we still don't know all the answers yet.
There's a
about
lot of
electric.
things about it that are, I mean, again, with conspiracy theories, you don't
Yeah.
know what can you believe and what can't you believe. But one thing I do know is if you're using electricity, I don't care whether it's a supercharger, I don't care if it's something at your house, I don't care if it's downtown at the 4 or 5 meters that they've got, chargers that they've got set up over there, the ones at school, the one at the restaurant. I don't care where they're coming from. They're using electricity. And electricity is produced by burning coal or gas.
Gas.
All right?
Yes, yeah. The only thing.
And the electric grid is
grid.
really not that safe.
to-
I think it's kind of fragile
Yeah.
to be putting more and more demand on it.
Right.
Exactly. And the thing is with the electric cars is the emissions. But we still don't know.
We don't know that.
And how do you
because-
get rid of the lithium batteries? How do you dispose
Well,
of them?
that's part of it, but just mining the lithium to put
into the-
to make the
yes,
battery
yeah.
is supposedly polluting.
Right.
So you don't know
exactly.
what to believe.
Yeah.
I believe that it ain't as good as they say it is.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
And I think we'll find out things further down the road, you know, that, about them.
Now,
Is that
people
another
have electric
conspiracy
cars.
theory?
Well, you know, exactly. I don't know. No, I got a gas car, and I'm very happy with it.
Good.
It's a nice.
All right.
little-
You got a gas car too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, me too. So I guess we're all going to heck for having gasoline cars.
Well,
Depends on who you talk to, I suppose, right?
probably won't be the only reason I go to heck.
We have to take a little break over here. We'll be right back with more conversation on Coffee Ann.
Summer Sizzler sale continues at Family Discount Furniture. Come in for hot summer deals. Family Discount Furniture has a huge selection in stock ready to bring home same day. Are you having trouble sleeping at night because you're just broiling? Well, check out the new Cooling Gel Mattress lineup. See the Ashley Collection Sofa and Love Seat or Sectional. Family Discount Furniture offers flexible leasing options, no credit needed. For details, talk to Ryan or Brad at Family Discount Furniture and visit online at FamilyDiscountFurnitureRI.com. Enjoy new furniture this summer from Family Discount Furniture on the corner of Social Street and Diamond Hill Road in Woonsocket.
When you're out enjoying Rhode Island's great outdoors, remember these 3 steps to prevent Lyme disease. Repel, check, and remove. To repel ticks, use bug spray with at least 20% DEET. When you get inside, do a full body tick check. Be sure to check your kids and pets too. If you find a tick, remove it with tweezers. Remember, repel, check, and remove. For more tick-free Rhode Island tips, visit health.ri.gov/ticks. Brought to you by the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
This Friday, August 4th, at the 11 Amp Free Concerts at Woonsocket's River Island Art Park, we open with a woman who sings the truth beautifully, Alexis Lee.
All my life I've been trying to get right here. All my life I've been holding up this middle finger to the ones that fear.
And then at 7:30, our headline performers, the superb vocal harmonies and pop music sound of Girls on Grass.
Come hang with me down at the
Live music, food trucks, on-site bar, kids activities, and activities for everyone with the dynamic Jerry from Jerry's Bluffing Boutique. If you can't come this week, the concerts will be broadcast live over the air on ON AM and FM stereo radio and streamed live at wonsocketRadio.com or watch in your home on your smart TV via the ON Worldwide channel on YouTube. Our broadcast is sponsored in part by Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center, Tasca Buick GMC, Family Discount Furniture, Dean Bank, Peter J. Hopkins Attorney at Law, and Jerry's Bluffing Boutique.
Back here on Coffee and on ON AM and FM radio, and as everyone have their blindfolds on and their thinking caps affixed, time for our trivia question for the show. It was on this date in 1893. Henry Perky and William Ford received a patent for this. Any idea? It's a food.
What was the date again?
Henry Perky and William Ford. Yeah. I'll go so far as to say, in most cases, a breakfast food. Something's been around forever, but was processed in a certain way, so they got a patent on it. You may have had some this morning. We have some in our pantry. I know you haven't checked
Cheerios.
our pantry.
Cheerios, that's a good one.
No.
Waffles. What?
Shredded wheat.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an old, that's an
Yeah.
old.
August 1st, they got their patent for shredded wheat. An old-time food, but a
That's an
favorite in my
old-time food,
view.
yeah. Yeah.
Not bad. Okay. The 1936 Summer Olympics Games began in Berlin. Adolf Hitler presided because he was the chancellor at the time. And, of course, all kinds of things happened there. Remember Jesse Owens?
Jesse Owens, right.
Yeah. But this was when they started the Summer Olympics. Parade Magazine did a 3-page feature on the United States Army's newest gadget on this date in 1941. Played a role in winning World War II. What do you think, Linda?
The newest gadget.
The newest gadget, 1941. Parade Magazine did a 3-page feature on the United States Army's newest gadget. What was it? 1941. What do you
41.
think? Is this a poser?
I'm thinking, hand grenade, but they had those before.
No, they
didn't
had them before.
They had those before.
Yeah. The newest gadget of the United States Army in 1941
And-
was?
And instrumental in the winning? You
Well,
said?
sure, played a part.
Played a part. Tanks. No.
No, tanks were in World War
War
One.
One. Yeah.
You're on the right track, though. It's
Yeah.
mechanical.
It is, huh? Machine gun.
You're not coming up with anything?
No, I'm not. No.
The Jeep.
Oh, okay. The Jeep.
The Jeep. They
Jeep,
didn't have
yeah.
the Jeep before World War II.
Before World War II. Yeah.
Light, four-wheel drive, utilitarian,
Yeah.
economical on gas.
Yeah.
Just got the job done.
Went through everything. Mud. Water.
Oh, I don't know. I mentioned this before. One of my more vivid memories of the blizzard of '78 was on the Tuesday morning when it was just getting way. They let us out of the. I was working in the mill back then. They let us out of the mill at noontime, and we spent another 20 to 30 minutes, me and a bunch of the other hardy guys from the mill, helping people get out onto the street from the parking lot. And one of them was a Willys Jeep. Had to push it out of the snowbank out onto the road.
Really?
And that always stayed with me because it's a Jeep. It's a four-wheel drive. It's supposed
Yeah,
to go
it
through
should- it
anything. We
should.
had to push it out onto the
Yeah.
street.
Well, yeah. By that time, the snow was deep. I was at the hospital.
Yeah.
It was 78. Yeah.
Yeah, it was several inches deep at that point.
By that time, it was quite deep. Yeah.
But my Volkswagen bus had no trouble at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I motored all the way through the streets of metropolitan Pascoag
Yeah.
and up and down the hills,
Yeah.
and even, although it took a little creative driving on yours truly's part, even drove up the hill in the driveway and parked it in my regular
Yeah.
parking spot before it sat there for 5 more days.
Volkswagens were wonderful. I used to have a Bug. A
Yeah.
little Volkswagen Bug. That thing went through everything.
Yeah.
That thing went through everything.
Right. Okay. 1981. The end of radio was announced.
What?
The end of radio, 1981.
End of radio. 80.
42 years ago?
Yeah.
1981.
Yeah.
Well, they were wrong.
MTV debuted.
Oh. Yeah.
And they said, this is it, forget about it. Radio will no longer be heard. We're going to, and of course, you know what the first song they played on MTV was? Now, you guys might not remember. But being in the business, I wasn't watching, but I mean, I remember because they told me. Video killed the radio star. There you go. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles was the first thing they played on MTV.
Really? You knew that?
I did. I still do.
You still
You still know it, right? and Ed will like this one. In 2017, August 1st will go down in history. 2017, when this new cryptocurrency was created.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is right.
Yeah.
This is the birthday of Bitcoin.
Happy birthday, Bitcoin.
Yeah. You were talking about Elon Musk. It was on this date in 2020 that Egypt, the country, told Elon Musk to shut up and get out. The pyramids were not built by aliens. Musk had tweeted the conspiracy theory that the aliens built the pyramids earlier. And in 2021 on this date, the U.S. passed the 35 million mark in COVID-19 cases. 35 million. Wow. And that was only in 21. Because it continued on, you know. I'll be a son of a gun. So what do you think about this new law in New York City? It is now against the law to hand out utensils, condiment packets, and napkins in takeout and delivery orders in New York City.
Unless people ask for it.
Well, you got to ask for them.
You got to ask for it.
And it's a law. They always come out with these great names for laws. This one is called the Skip the Stuff Law. But they're wise. Businesses have a grace period until next July. You will get a written warning until next July, and then your actual fines will be $400 per occurrence.
How do they enforce a law like that?
Well,
They
I'm
go around
sure.
to the different
I'm sure
restaurants or
the
places?
cops will have a division that will send out for takeout, and if it comes back with those banned utensils, etc., they'll send the guys out to bring them into the pokey. No?
I bet the vendors will be thrilled because it'll cost them less money. If it's the law, I can't get, unless you ask for it, I can't give it to you. So they're going to save money,
Yeah,
you know?
crazy.
The packet police will get you.
The
Packet
packet
police.
police.
You know, when they do laws like this, you always say, how do you enforce them? How do you enforce them?
Well, it's simple. You set up another division of
Like
the police.
you need another division of the police
yeah.
to go in.
It's a sting operation.
That's what I'm saying. The packet police. It's
Yeah.
like, come on.
A federal judge in South Florida is putting an end to a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the Kraft Heinz Food Company. A Miami-Dade County woman filed the lawsuit late last year, claiming the company was misleading its customers about how long it takes to prepare a Velveeta microwavable mac and cheese.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, it gets worse. The company was accused of violating federal law by saying that the food takes 3.5 minutes to prepare.
And how long did it take her?
They're saying, the lady is saying, 3.5 minutes to prepare, but that doesn't include the time it takes to remove the lid and add water. And so she should be gifted millions of dollars by the company because Miami district judge came in sober this day and tossed the case out last week, saying that the woman didn't have enough standing to follow through with a $5 million class action lawsuit.
Oh my gosh.
And shall we end on a happy note?
Yes.
Restore your faith in humanity after that last story.
Yes.
A good citizen is credited with turning in thousands of dollars worth of drugs down in Florida. U.S. Border Patrol's Miami sector announced on Sunday that a boater found floating in the water a brick of cocaine in the Keys area of Florida on Saturday. The brick was turned into authorities. The Border Patrol says the brick weighed in at 2.5 pounds and was worth over $40,000.
Wow.
And this person just handed it in.
See?
Restores your faith in humanity,
Yes, there's
right?
still good people in the world.
They certainly are, yeah. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our discussion time here today. Was there anything we forgot to talk about that you wanted to get on the air in our final minute?
No, I'm good.
Final comment from you, Linda?
Well, I always tell everybody to keep moving and stay well.
Good idea. And sometimes it's not as easy to keep moving as it sounds.
I know. But you gotta keep, because if you stop moving, then your body might stop moving you. So.
And final comment, please.
Just have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.
And thanks so much to you folks for listening in and watching in today. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we'll be back again, do it again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Coming up next, we have a spot of news and sports and the weather for you. Gary and the gang comes back because it's Tuesday at 9:30 with the Do You Remember program. Enjoy the rest of the day's broadcasting activities. And if you missed any portion of the day's broadcast of Coffee and, pick it up on demand at wonsocketradio.com in just a few minutes after it renders out with the computers. Make it a good day.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
Well, the price of gas in Rhode Island has spiked and gone up fast. You'll see a big disparity right here in the city, more than 30 cents a difference between different stations, so shop around. AAA reports the current average for the state of Rhode Island is $3.66 a gallon. We saw $3.79 on Social Street, and we also saw $3.59. And here on Park Avenue, we've got $3.49 and $3.55. That's just a couple of samples. There's a 13-cent increase in the last week. We mentioned those examples, of course, just to give you an idea of the range. The national average is $3.75 per gallon, so I suppose all in all we're not too badly off here. Police confirmed the body of the 15-year-old boy who disappeared while swimming at Dunes Park Beach in Westerly on Thursday night was found early Sunday night. Jamir Martin Eco Gregorio of New London, Connecticut, went missing last Thursday night. Family and friends continued looking for Jamir after the Coast Guard and local first responders suspended the search, and they found him Sunday night.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. More high temperatures are in store across the southern U.S. this week. Tens of millions of Americans remain under heat alerts, particularly in states like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas. NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman.
One of those spots being Dallas heads to 107. That would tie a record for today. And it doesn't get a lot better until as we get into tomorrow in this area either. Houston, 103, that record 104. When we look up to the Northeast and the Midwest, however, that's where the more normal temperatures are. We finally got back to those average conditions in places like New York. It'll be low 80s. Major improvements in D.C. through the next couple of days, too.
Feels like temperatures could reach triple digits through Wednesday in some cities. There will be fewer opportunities for women to get abortions in Indiana starting today. Mark Mayfield reports.
Indiana's new abortion law, which bans most abortions after 10 weeks and stops outpatient clinics from offering abortions, takes effect today. Lawmakers approved the law last August, not long after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. A judge initially blocked the law, but a court later overturned that order. The new law allows for some abortions in some cases up to 20 weeks.
The so-called doomsday cult mom will spend life behind bars for the murder of her two youngest children.
You're sentenced to the custody of the State Board of Corrections to serve the maximum allowed sentence, a fixed determinate term of life imprisonment with no possibility of parole.
Earlier this year, Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty of murdering her 17-year-old daughter and 7-year-old son and conspiring to kill her husband's ex-wife. Idaho prosecutors say she and her husband were obsessed with doomsday-focused religious beliefs. Vallow Daybell is also charged in Arizona for the death of her first husband. A body was found Monday morning inside a 55-gallon drum that washed up on a beach in Southern California. Investigators with the L.A. County Sheriff's Department are on the case in Malibu. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Lou Mandeville here with a look at sports. Boston Red Sox are out on the West Coast still as the rest of the division battle each other. They fell to the Mariners 6-2 last night. Offense continues to struggle. Cal Raleigh hit 2 homers for Seattle. Nick Pivetta took the loss. Prior to the game, the Sox placed left-handed reliever Joely Rodriguez on the 15-day disabled list with right hip inflammation. Rays topped the Yankees 5-1. Tyler Glasnow got the win. All the runs came via homers. Tampa hit 4 of them, including Brandon Lowe's 2-run shot in the first inning. Blue Jays lost 4-2 to the division-leading Orioles. Gunnar Henderson homered, and Austin Hayes had a game-saving catch for the O's in the 9th. Sox were off last night. They traveled to Syracuse to open a 6-game set tonight at NBT Bank Stadium. That is your look at sports. From In Sports, I'm Lou Mandeville.
Providing experienced, compassionate care when you need it. That describes North Smithfield and Lincoln Urgent Care Centers. Their mission is to make you feel safe and reassured about the nature and severity of minor illnesses like lacerations, sprains, ear and sinus infections, stomach and back discomfort, and more. Both facilities have X-ray and lab facilities on premises. North Smithfield Urgent Care, 594 Great Road, North Smithfield, 768-3400. Open Monday through Friday 9 to 8 and Saturday 9 to 5. And Lincoln Urgent Care, across from Lincoln Mall, 333-9595. Open weekdays 9 to 9, Saturday and Sunday 9 to 5.
This ON Radio weather forecast brought to you by Inferno Audio. For installation of remote car starters, alarm systems, and custom car audio, plus automotive accessories, stop into Inferno Audio, 160 Clinton Street, Woonsocket. Visit online at infernoaudio.com.